Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a children's story that honestly has a super powerful message for all of us. It's called Hope-o-potamus, and we're going to unpack what this amazing little tale teaches us about what it really means to persevere.
Okay, so let's start with this quote because the entire story really hangs on this one piece of advice from a wise old giraffe. These words, something he remembered from way back, they become the guiding light for our hero's whole incredible journey. Let's see how.
All right, so let's set the scene. The story kicks off in a pretty bleak place. Our hero, the Hope-o-potamus, is in a situation that feels completely, utterly hopeless. So just imagine this for a second. A huge drought has turned your home into a dry, dusty wasteland. You're hot, you're miserable, and you haven't had a proper drink in ages. This is exactly where we meet our hero, right at his absolute lowest point. It's a picture of total despair, the kind of feeling where it seems like things are never, ever going to get better.
Okay, so this slide breaks down all the key players, and this is where it gets really interesting. We've got our hero and his mentor, sure, but look closely at the doubters. They're not just random animals. They're basically stand-ins for the feelings that make us want to give up. You know, that little voice in your head saying, just turn back, or that deep exhaustion that's begging you to just rest, and of course, that crippling feeling of being completely overwhelmed.
So the big question is, how do you go from that kind of dusty despair to a place of real determination? Well, for our hero, it all starts with a single memory, a little spark of encouragement from his past.
That memory of the giraffe's advice, to just keep moving forward, even if it's just tiny steps. That's the spark for his whole adventure. This is the exact moment he decides to stop just sitting there waiting for things to get better and actually starts walking in a direction that just feels hopeful. Okay, so he's on his way, but this is where the real work begins, right? Let's look at the trials our hippo faces, because this is where the story's main message really gets put to the test.
So, was his journey going to be easy? Haha, no way. Of course not. As our hero sets out, he finds out really quick that his path is full of challenges, both from the world around him and from some very, very discouraging voices. So he runs into three big tests. First, out in the blistering hot desert, a camel tries to plant seeds of doubt in his mind. Then, in a dark, tangled jungle, a sloth tempts him with the easy way out. Just give up and go to sleep. And finally, on this super steep mountain, a lion tries to overwhelm him, telling him the climb is just impossible. I mean, each one is a classic roadblock we all face, right?
And this is what's so brilliant about his mindset. Despite every single obstacle, he just politely refuses to give in. He doesn't argue, he doesn't get mad, he just repeats this simple, really powerful mantra to himself and keeps putting one foot in front of the other.
So, after all that, after facing down every single doubter, pushing through that scorching desert, that tangled jungle, and up that treacherous mountain, the moment of truth arrives. He gets to this point where he feels like he physically cannot take another step. And then he looks up. And he sees it. At the very top, his persistence is rewarded with the one thing he was searching for. And it's not just any water. It's a wide, muddy, glorious waterhole, basically hippo paradise. But here's the thing. The reward isn't just the water. It's so much bigger than that. He finds a new friend. And then, in this amazing twist, the very animals who doubted him, well, they followed him. And now they're cheering for him, saying his bravery inspired them. His private struggle ended up being this public victory that lifted everybody up. It's the whole shebang. Okay, so that's the story. Let's kind of step back for a sec and talk about what this whole journey is really trying to teach us. First up, and it's pretty obvious, right? Hope. I mean, it's right there in his name. Hope is that powerful engine inside us that lets us believe something better is possible, even when all the evidence around us is saying the exact opposite. And then there's perseverance. The whole story is basically a masterclass in it. It's all about putting that hope into action by remembering your goal and just continuing to take those small steps, especially when every part of you wants to quit. Which, leads us right into resilience. Because our hippo, he doesn't just put up with the hard stuff. He actively bounces back from it. The discouraging words from the camel, the sloth, the lion, they don't defeat him. He hears them, he acknowledges them, and he keeps going anyway. That is resilience in action. And I love this part. The book playfully mashes all these ideas together and gives us this awesome new term, hippo persistence. It's such a great little reminder for all of us to tap into that same kind of determination when things get tough in our own lives.
At the end of the day, this story is a simple but really profound reminder that even when we feel stuck in our own dry riverbeds, taking just one more step and then another one can lead us to our very own waterhole. So I'll leave you with this. When have you needed to find your hippo persistence?